Rachel and Jonathan join me now. It is good to see you. I never thought that it was going to be this long, and yet here we are. And what do you want people to know about how you view the state of play in this situation?
Well, I think your wording was really perfect, because I think when you're saying the state of play, to me, it feels that we are pawns in a game, or maybe it's theater. Obviously, we're in a place of profound, staggering trauma that is unimaginable and really quite indescribable. So what is unfolding in our life is so hard to comprehend. And I do think a lot of what you were saying in your introduction rings very true and authentic to us.
Well, look, John, as you know, a lot of it is an advocacy for your position, because, forgive the word, but as stakeholders go in this situation, this was supposed to be the paramount thing, and always has been for Israel before then. I mean, we all know the history of how far Israel has gone, whether you want to talk about Entebbe or anything, to get back one handful of people, let alone this. When you think about blame for why it isn't all about the hostages, do you make space for, well, maybe it's got to be about more than us? Maybe this is bigger than that. How do you rationalize it to yourself?
Sure. So one of the things that we've learned in 181 days in this crash course on global diplomacy is that every person and every country has interests. We've heard that word more in 181 days than years before. And those interests seem to be getting in the way of bringing back 134 hostages. And when I say interests, I'm talking about multiple parties here having interests that somehow or other seem to take precedent over getting these hostages home. The United States of America, in my book, gets 11 points on a 10-point scale for the way they've opened their doors to us, their access, the information they share, the support, the empathy, the hugs. But we always say we want one result here. In 181 days in, we don't have it yet. And I know that there's squeezing going on now on Bibi, and I don't even know all the details because we've been running around all day. But I can only hope that pressure like that is happening maybe behind the scenes on other parties who are at the table.
But look, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, you're in Israel. The idea that Bibi Netanyahu or anybody is going to look at the Israeli population and say, all right, we're going to pull back, and they say they're going to give us back the hostages. Who's going to say that? I mean, the chance that you get them all back and that you know what they're going to ask for, which is, yeah, but we want these 1,200 people that we believe you have wrongly. Oh, and we want, and the list is going to get longer and longer, and you will have withdrawn. And once you withdraw, that's it, because you know the international community won't let you back in. Does that make sense to you?
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, and it's very frightening that that would even be something that anyone would bandy about.
That's what the president said today.
Right.
And we know why.
Right.
We know why. Because you have friends who are Democrats, who are to the left, right, of the party, and they see what's happening in Gaza, and they've put you in an impossible position, which is, yeah, now you know how they feel. Now you know how they've felt for years, the way you feel about Hersh, because they're all held hostage. What do you do with that?
Well, what's also interesting, is that within the remaining 134 hostages that are still being held in Gaza, we talk often about the 8 United States citizens. Right. I don't hear a lot of people talking often about there are also 8 Muslim Arab hostages being held. There are 7 Thailandi Buddhists being held. There are Nepali being held, there's Mexicans being held, there's Germans being held. You don't hear about that. You don't hear about the Black Christian African young men who are being held. You only hear this number, 134, and we don't define who those people are. So also there's a story that's very unjustly and not righteously being explained. So there's that element as well. But I think it's, when you ask, obviously, a parent, and so we are not seeing things objectively. We are purely acting out of innate primal
Of course.
instinct.
Of course.
We want our child back. We want our only son back.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.